Completing the full power N64 set in top end condition nearly broke me. Today we're going to go through what the hardest titles for me to obtain were and why they were such a nightmare. Hello YouTube, N64 here, I'm back. In this episode then, we're going to go through my top 5 most difficult to find N64 power games on my full set journey. I'd like to point out at this stage, the most difficult to find in top end condition does not necessarily mean the most difficult to find games or the rarest games. Some are just in fragile boxes and they're difficult to find, yet as game rarity goes, they're not necessarily rare. I'd also like to point out that this journey is different for everybody, so somebody might say, well, I found that in good condition very quickly, and you may have, but the general consensus is these are problem titles, and many of you will have struggled to find these titles in top end condition like I did. I would also like to say that there are a couple of titles that I'm yet to get in a condition that I'm satisfied with, i.e. at least an 8 out of 10 in my book, so I'll go through those at the end as well. So without further ado then, let's get into these games then. Right, first of all, number 5, and counting our way down, we have Toy Story 2. Very difficult game to find in top end condition on the N64. You might think I see that game everywhere. You'd be right, it's not exactly rare, but one of these Activision published games, and they decided to use these real thin, flimsy boxes. I'm really scared to put this up in case I drop it, but it's in absolutely stunning condition. Really difficult to find in this sort of quality. I got lucky. I think it was on an auction on eBay. I ended up getting it for 185. I know there's another collector in the community who's very passionate about this sort of condition, and he would have paid a lot more. He was planning on sniping, and I think he was in an area of little signal. We spoke about it after the fact, and he couldn't get his bid in time. So I was quite fortunate to get it for the price I did. And this was probably about the 3rd copy that it took to get one in a condition that I was satisfied with. I actually had a sealed one before, but it was a shrink seal, and they have catastrophic effects sometimes on boxes like this where they crease the cardboard, and that's exactly what had happened. And so delighted to have a copy in this sort of condition. Obviously I grew up in the 90s, so Toy Story is quite a nostalgic thing for me. I know my wife loves Toy Story 2. She had it on the PlayStation 1 growing up, and we have a copy of that now. It's a fun little game, and to have it in Nintendo cardboard in the highest quality for a collector like me who loves cardboard, Nintendo cardboard and N64 cardboard, absolutely delighted to have one in this condition. It's not what you'd absolutely call mint, but it's as close as you'll ever get for this title, I'm convinced. So yeah, it was a difficult one for me because it took 3 goes to get one in this sort of condition. I got lucky on the auction, and to find another one in this sort of condition, it'll take you a long time. These have built-in inserts, so they're always blown out where people ram the cartridge in too hard and so on, so all the inside comes apart, and then if that happens, then the cartridge rattles inside the box and becomes a nightmare. Not the case with this one, so delighted to have one in this sort of condition and pleased to show you this one. Coming in at number 4, we have Tony Hawk Skateboarding, another Activision produced game. Surprise, surprise, in another flimsy box. Now this, I wouldn't say it's superb condition, great condition. It's got like a crease across the front here, but in the main, it's generally really good condition. It did have a huge sticker on the front here that I had to remove, and pleased to say that that was a success. This is another problem title for a lot of people, difficult to find, either not absolutely battered or without the insides blown out. Again, it's got these real thin bits of card just acting as a structure to hold the cartridge and manual in place. So I was happy with this condition, which I eventually found. I think this was the 2nd copy that I eventually got. It was £105 on eBay. I think I sold my old one for a profit, so my net cost is obviously lower. And it's now in a condition that I'm happy with. Like I said, it's not mint. To find this game mint, it's nigh on impossible. But it's certainly what I'd consider top end condition for this title. No nasty rips, it's fully complete. Okay, it's got some signs of wear, but this is the way it goes. You have to draw the line somewhere on these titles, or you'll be forever looking for the most perfect quality, and it can get quite obsessive. And I'm pleased to say that on some of these I've just had to turn a corner and say, yes, I'm happy with that, and I am happy with this. It's a terribly difficult one to find. If one comes my way, of course I'll probably upgrade, but I'm not going to go out actively looking for it now, because I'm now at a stage where I've made my peace with it and I'm super happy with this one. It's better than most you'll see. And yeah, it's just another problem title. I know a lot of people struggle finding this title at all sometimes, but to find it in top end condition, very, very difficult. I can't really comment much on the game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, I used to play it a hell of a lot on the Dreamcast back in the day. I never played the first game. I know it's similar, maybe a bit more older looking, but many people enjoy this game, very nostalgic for it. So it is one that I do want to have a deep dive into, and I am looking forward to playing it on the channel and seeing how it compares to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. So number 4, Tony Hawk's Skateboarding. Coming in at number 3, we have Disney's Tarzan. Now this is a very, very difficult game to find complete in box at all, and then in the highest quality, even more difficult. Surprise, surprise. Another Activision, flimsy cardboard, really thin, cheap, difficult one to find in top end condition, very easily creased, very difficult to find, not pancaked. I guess like Toy Story 2 and this, the demographic for these sort of games back in the day were younger children. So what young children looked after their boxes? You got to think about that side of things as well. Built-in insert, real thin and flimsy. If you store your games with games stacked on one top of one another, this will soon squash and pancake. You got to remember things like box protectors didn't exist back in the day. So if you had that at the bottom of a pile, it would just get squashed in no time at all. And that's why you see copies with like tabs missing, the ends blown out and all sorts. It took me about 3 attempts to get this copy. Before that, I had 2 prior copies. And each time I upgraded, I sold my old one for more than what I paid for it. This cost me £350. I hear you gasp. Yes, it's a lot of money. It actually owes me nothing now, because when I did my collecting days, I did a lot of buying and selling. As I aforementioned, I resold 2 copies and made hundreds of pounds back on those. So this copy does not actually owe me anything. It owes me nothing. So delighted to have it in my set for absolutely free. And it's a good game as well. I've played through this game twice now. It is actually on the channel as part of Mission N64 239. I'll put a link to the playlist. We're aiming to complete and review all 239 UK PAL N64 games, and we've already completed Disney's Tarzan on that journey. Again, it's not mint, but it's in super condition. Really happy. Again, really scared of dropping it. But yeah, you're not going to get much better than that really, unless you find a sealed copy, which I think one was found recently, and you're looking at 4 figures for that. In the hype about a year and a half ago, these were selling for about £800 in lesser condition. So I'm not sure what the current value is, what it would presently sell for. I have no idea, but I'm super happy with what I paid for it. Like I said, it doesn't owe me anything now, so anything over 500 quid, I'm 500 quid in the money, aren't I? It's definitely a difficult title to obtain. It has got an aura about it, this title. It's quite well known now to be one of the most difficult games, especially in top end condition. So I'm very pleased to have this condition in my collection. Coming in at number 2, we have Shadowgate 64, Trials of the Four Towers. We're moving away from Activision published games now. Shadowgate is a very rare game, full stop, for UK collectors, for UKV, English, even cart only. It's very difficult to find. Super low print run really. It's not a game that you come across too often, and this was really difficult for me because I managed to find a double figures worth of copies, people with them, you know, looking through gaming groups, searching for the title, and I found people with them. The biggest problem I had is I couldn't get anyone to part with it. So I found even a copy that was won on raffle in nice condition that went to some chap in Portugal. He didn't even have a full set, and he's in Portugal, so it's an English game. Why do you want an English game? And he wasn't willing to part with his win that he'd won like a year before. He wanted to keep it, and you know, more power to him. But this was the difficulty I had. I was hunting copies down, finding people with copies. Nobody just wanted to sell it. Obviously people with it in a full set, they're not going to sell theirs, but I was finding people with a copy that wasn't in a full set and they were still not willing to sell. So that was my biggest problem. I eventually encouraged my friend in Belgium to release this copy. Of course it was his decision. It wasn't cheap. It was probably about £800. This is one of the most expensive games in the N64 library. I had no problem paying that. I have no idea what it's worth now. whether it would be less, whether it would be more, I honestly don't know. But this is unique because it's a brand new, straight out the shipping box copy. It's never been opened. I'm really scared to hold this as well. Absolutely trembling. But yeah, it's a very difficult game to find, full stop. So to get a brand new copy, it was no hesitation from me to pay that amount. I don't mind. I think he still did me a solid price. I'm sure at that point in time it could have been sold for more. Like I said, I don't know what it's worth. It's not a game I've ever played. It will come to the channel at some point, but I can't give any commentary on that front. All I know is a later release, a lower print run, so it's a difficult game to find, full stop. So luckily for me, I got this game in my collection and ticked off, but also in top end condition that I'm happy with. So although I didn't struggle to get it in good condition, I struggled to find it, period. I couldn't even get hold of a complete in box copy that I wasn't happy with at the time. But this is the thing with N64 collecting. Sometimes you can struggle to find a game, and it's not just N64, it could be anything. They're like buses. Sometimes you can have a really dry spell, nothing on eBay for months and months on end, nothing on the groups. You find one, and then another 2 or 3 will come along like buses, just the way it goes sometimes. But this was a game that I found terribly difficult to find, full stop. But luckily for me, I found one eventually in the condition I was happy with and ticked off both variables in one go. Coming in at number 1 for me is Milo's Astro Lanes. This was terribly difficult for me to find on my collecting journey second time around. It was actually the last game that I needed to complete my set. Now I did come across copies, but they were blown out, tabs missing, ends missing, and I don't want a condition like that in my collection, so I was a little bit more patient. Eventually I found this copy. It was from Italy, I believe. It was brand new and sealed, but it was, as I mentioned previously, one of them seals that sort of shrinks the box and damages it and compresses it, and I took the seal off because it was damaging the box in this case, and there is like slight crease on the box there. This was all bowed in. I've tried to straighten it out as much as I can. So the game is brand new, unplayed, but I did have to open it to iron the box and reshape it, so I have opened it. It's in great condition, but yeah, it's still not perfect. And this cardboard, real thin, cheap, flimsy, a bit like the Activision ones, but it's a different texture actually. It's the same as Flying Dragon, which I've got a brand new seal copy. It's absolutely awful cardboard for longevity and really doesn't stand the test of time very well. Quirky little bowling game this, so definitely one that you want to give a go if you're into N64 games. It will come to the channel on Mission N64 239 at some point, as we aim to do a full completion and review of that game. And yeah, this was just a real problematic title for me. I know it is for other people. Whether you struggle or not will depend on your level of fussiness, I guess, what you deem as an acceptable condition. But either way, it's definitely an uncommon title, so even to find in lesser condition, it's not exactly easy. Price, I think it was €200, so not the most expensive, but it's not cheap either. Because of how difficult it is to find, it was a no-brainer at that sort of price for me. And yeah, just delighted to have a condition that I'm happy with in my collection. No, it's not perfect, but it's better than a lot of the copies you will see, so happy with that one. And that's it. That's the hardest title for me to find. It was the last for me to complete my collection, like I said, and it's an awful one to try and find in top end condition. Right then guys, so there were my 5 most difficult games to find in top end condition or to find, full stop. I'm just going to do some honourable mentions now then. So first of all, NBA Jam 2000. This is a terribly difficult game to find in top end condition. I got lucky. I got this very early on into my collecting journey this time round. I caught a seller selling up. I think I paid about £200 for this, a lot of money. Probably could have got it cheaper, but I don't regret it. I have never seen one in a similar condition since. It's not even perfect. It's brand new and sealed, but there are like signs of bowing on it, unfortunately. These Acclaim games are just awful, awful boxes, and I don't want to open it and try and iron it because they're prone to shelf wear. So the moment you unfold it and start refolding it, those nice spines will start whiting and cracking and paint chipping and all sorts of really, really awful designed cardboard games, never built to stand the test of time. Built-in inserts, so hence it sort of bows and presses in. There's nothing to support the top layer of cardboard. That's why you've got that bowing. But in the main, it's brand new, It's UKV English, a bit like my sealed NFL Quarterback Club 2000, and it's a difficult game to find complete in box full stop. In anything sort of presentable condition, even more difficult. So I think I'm winning overall. It's not perfect, like I say, but it's in really, really nice condition, and I didn't have to mention it because I got this one out the way personally very early on, but a lot of people will struggle with this title. Then we move on to the two worst condition games in my set, really. These are the ones that are still on my upgrade list. I've just never managed to come across them in good condition, or I've been too slow and missed the boat. So if you know of any copies, or you have one for sale, please let me know, because I am open to upgrading these. The first is Revolt, another Acclaim box, surprise, surprise. This one is not exactly awful condition, but it's not an 8 out of 10 for me. It's probably a 7. It's just got the white shelfware that I talk about. Structurally, the box is pretty good, but it's just got the wear around it. It's been really hard thumbed, that end opening. I don't like people who open games from the left, so Nintendo games should always be open from this side. To my mind, that should always be left untampered. But yeah, it's been thumbed aggressively on that side, I'd say. So yeah, it's one that remains a mystery to me, and one that I'll endeavour to get a nicer copy one day. At least it's structurally sound, it's fully complete. Most people will be happy with this, and I've kind of made my peace with it, but I'll always keep one eye open for an upgrade. I'm just not going to actively search it because there are other things I want to spend my time doing. But yeah, this one is a tough one to get in good condition. And when I say good, I mean at least 8 out of 10 or above. The other one, surprise, surprise, another Acclaim game. I'd say this is probably about a 7. It's structurally good. English as well, difficult to find in English, but you know, it's got white creases on it, shelfware and so on. There's a mark where there was a sticker, I think, slightly. You can only tell in certain light down here. But in the main, it's structurally pretty solid, pretty sound. A lot of people would be happy with this, but there's a bit of creasing on the spine as well. But, you know, it's not quite an 8 out of 10 for me, so I'm not fully content with it. Like I said, I've made my peace with it. I'm not actively hunting, mainly because I know how hard it is to find in top-end condition. Of course, I'll keep an eye open for one, but I'm not actively pursuing N64 upgrades at the moment. There's other things I want to spend my time doing. But yeah, another terribly difficult one to find, complete in box, full stop. And then if you do, very, very hard to find in at least 8 out of 10 condition. So again, if you know of any copies, let me know. But yes, this is another copy that I'll be looking for an upgrade one day, when and if I come across one, really. I hope you've enjoyed this video, a little bit thought-provoking about what titles I struggled with on this full power N64 set journey, what titles you might want to look out for in nicer condition and get those out the way if you're on the journey. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a thumbs up. Really helps the channel out. Add a comment as well. Let me know what you're doing. Do you collect N64? What are your favourite N64 games? Let me know your thoughts on the games that I've got that I'm not happy with the condition. Am I just being too fussy? Would you be happy with those? And of course, if you're new to the channel or a returning viewer and you aren't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. We're trying to build this place up. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one. I'll see you on the next one. Oh. And of course, if you're new to the channel or a returning viewer and you aren't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. We're trying to build this place up. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.